Inventory continues to go up and prices are starting to slowly come down. If you want to know what's happening with the Durham Region real estate market, then you'll want to keep watching. I'm going to give you all of the numbers and tell you exactly what we saw in June, as well as the first half of 2025. My name is Vilija Truelove, and I'm a local Durham Region real estate agent. If you're looking to make a move in the Durham Region, you can schedule a consultation, which you can do through my calendar link in the description below, or you can just give me a call, send me a text or an email. All my contact information is down below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any of my future videos. And at the same time, you can go ahead and download my free Durham Region guide. Now, let's get into the numbers for June 2025. So we had 817 sales in June. This is a decrease from the 850 sales that we saw in May. When we compare things to a year ago, we had 877 sales in June 2024. So 60 fewer sales compared to this time last year, about a 4% drop. When we look at total sales for the first half of this year, so sales year to date, we are at 4,153. Again, comparing this to last year, at this point we had seen 4,850 sales. So 697 fewer sales year to date. So number of sales is definitely down, but people are still buying and selling homes. 60 fewer sales is not a ridiculous drop. Where we've seen more of a change this month is in new and especially active listings. We had another 2,282 new listings come to the market in June. This is quite a decrease from the 2,461 we had come up in May. But comparing again to last June, we had 2,232 come up. So 50 more new listings compared to this time last year. Again, not a crazy increase, but active listings, which is how many properties we have available for sale at the end of the month. We ended the month with a whopping 2,925 active listings. This is an increase again from the already high 2,798 active listings at the end of last month. So we had higher than usual rates of new listings coming on the market the last few months. More houses continue coming up for sale. And even though new listings did decrease month over month, sales are still not keeping up the same pace. So basically, listings continue to pile up. Again, when we compare things to last year, we are significantly up from the 2,182 active listings we had last June. So 743 more active listings to end off the month compared to last year. It's also important to look at terminated and expired listings right now because it's telling a lot about what's happening out there. When a property is taken off the market that hasn't sold, it could be because the listing has expired or the seller has terminated the listing. So they've chosen to take it off the market. We had 1,168 terminated listings in the Durham region in June. So same as the last few months, we had more properties taken off the market than we had sales. Last month, we saw 1,129 terminated listings, and comparing things to last year, we had 914 in June 2024. So still a pretty decent amount, but we saw 253 more than we saw a year ago. Expired listings, so listings that came to the end of their contract without selling, we had 110. Next, we can look at months of inventory and sales to new listings ratio to help us try to determine what kind of market we're in, though I think you're getting a pretty good idea. Months of inventory tells us the number of months that it would take to completely sell the homes that are currently listed for sale, and that's based on the area's current rate of sales activity and as well if no new listings came on the market. So June, we were at 3.6 months. May, we were at 3.3 months. So this number continues to slowly go up. Anything under 3 to 4 months of inventory is typically considered a seller's market. 4 to 6 is usually a balanced market. So we're getting into that balanced market area based on that number. Sales to new listings ratio, which is the ratio between the number of homes sold and the number of new listings entering the market, was at 35.8% for June. This is an increase from the 34.5% we saw in May. The lower we go, the more into a buyer's market we get. Usually between 40 and 60% is considered a balanced market, and less than 40% is considered a buyer's market. So that number is suggesting a buyer's market. Now, prices. The average sale price in Durham for all home types was $891,622. This is the second decrease we've seen this year From last month, we've dropped $14,040 on average after an almost $8,000 drop from April to May. When we look at specific areas in the Durham region, this is again for all home types. Pickering saw an increase of $22,348. Ajax saw an increase of $49,777. Whitby saw a very slight decrease of $761. Oshawa decreased $17,247, and Clarington decreased an average of $29,798. So we can also look at the median price to get a good idea of what prices are doing, which I like because it doesn't take the extreme high and low sales into account, which can skew things sometimes. So the median price in June was $840,000. May was $850,000. So we're down $10,000. Again, comparing this to a year ago, in June 2024, we had an average price of $956,428. So we're down an average of $64,766 from last year. Median price is down $50,000. We were at $890,000 last year. When we look at the first 6 months of this year, we started the year with an average price of $896,611. So we're down just under $5,000 from where we started the year. Median price was $835 in January, so we're actually up $5,000 from the median price that we saw in January. We saw a 100% sale to list price ratio again, so homes were mostly selling around their asking price. And the homes that do sell are still selling relatively quickly. We had an average days of 21 days average on market, and property days on market, which takes into account if a home has been listed multiple times, was at 34. So the homes that are selling are typically taking less than a month. So what do all these numbers mean for you as a buyer, a seller, or a homeowner? So inventory is high and continuing to grow. New listings keep hitting the market, and we aren't seeing enough sales to keep up with them. Sellers are choosing to take their properties off the market rather than lowering their prices to get the sale in many cases, which we're seeing in the terminated listings. In some cases, if the owners have enough equity and a low enough interest rate, they're also choosing to rent the house out rather than sell. So this is one of the reasons that prices haven't come down as much as some people might have expected. If you're thinking about buying, there are a lot more homes to choose from. And I have buyers in price points under, say, the $650,000 to $700,000 price range that would have had very little choice a year or two ago, and now can actually find something that they would want to live in and call home. So it could be a good opportunity to get into the market if you're in a solid financial position. Of course, the million-dollar question, when will we hit the bottom? And the truth is that we don't know the answer to that question. I've said the last few months that based on simple supply and demand, that prices should start to come down. We have a lot of supply, and the buyer demand just is not there to keep up with it. Plus, we're in the summer months now, which even in a good year, it's normal to see the market slow down and prices decrease a little bit before typically picking back up again in the fall. So there's a good chance that prices decrease more this year. Are we going to see this huge crash with 50% drop in prices that some people seem to be hoping for? Personally, I don't think so, but we should see them come down further. So if you're a buyer who's ready and wanting to purchase right now, even in a declining market, here's what I want you to keep in mind. Trying to time the exact bottom is nearly impossible. And often we only know when we've hit it after we've already passed it. So if you're financially stable, you have a long-term outlook, and you found the right home, don't let the fear of short-term fluctuations hold you back. Real estate is a long game, and the Durham region has historically held its value very well. So also, something else to take into account is that in a softer market like this, you'll have more negotiating power, less competition, and a better shot at finding the right property. You might even find one in a neighborhood that would have been out of reach during a hotter market. You want to just make sure that you're not overextending your budget and that you're buying for the right reasons, not just trying to catch a deal. If you focus on long-term value rather than short-term timing, you'll be in a strong position down the road. And if your move is motivated by lifestyle, so you're needing more space, you're relocating for work, family changes, or you're just ready to stop renting, those reasons don't go away just because of what the market is doing. If you need to sell, pricing your home correctly is going to be the most important thing. And so is making sure that it shows perfectly, because buyers have a lot more to choose from in all price points. You want to stand out amongst your competition with staging, amazing photos and videos, and great online marketing. And also, if you're a move-up buyer, so you're needing to sell your current home to buy a new one, then you need to be looking carefully at your financial situation to determine whether buying or selling first makes the most sense. And also remember that you're buying and selling within the same market. So you'll get less for your home, but also pay less for your new one. In most cases, you'll be better off 5 years down the road in terms of equity with the move-up home, as it's likely to go up more in value and more quickly than the starter home that you're in right now. If you'd like to talk about the top strategies and come up with a game plan for buying and selling in this current market, you can book a consultation at the link in my bio, or just send me a text or an email to start the conversation. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe so that you get more updates like this in the future. I'll see you in the next video.